From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Good morning, and thanks for starting your day with us. Today is Saturday, March 29th. I'm Max Darrow. Here's a look at what's happening today around the Bay. A protest against Tesla CEO and Trump advisor Elon Musk happens later this morning in San Jose. Organizers oppose Musk's work to slash the workforces at federal agencies that they say are supposed to meet critical human needs. Today's demonstration starts at 11 o'clock in the morning at the corner of Santana Row and Stevens Creek Boulevard. That's about a block away from a Tesla showroom. In Alameda today, the community will mark National Vietnam War Veterans Day. The event will take place on the USS Hornet, which is now a museum. A Marine who published a memoir about his experiences in Vietnam, Darren Walton, is the featured speaker of the day. The main event starts at 11 o'clock, and then at about 1 this afternoon, the USS Hornet Memorial Squadron will conduct a flyover. Admission is free for all veterans and active duty personnel. Now let's talk about the weather on this Saturday morning. First Alert meteorologist Zoe Mintz joins me. And Zoe, today seems to be the one day of the weekend, the good day of the weekend, to get out and enjoy a little bit of sun before it disappears.
Oh yeah, definitely going to be the good day. But something I want to show you just below my feet right here. We are waiting on the sun to rise. But
let me walk back.
I was about to say, take a step back and we will begin to see the severe weather sources. As I say, you could run out of there, Max. But we're going to see a severe weather system that is currently developing across the central United States. But what you also might notice, this is what I was waiting for, is the fact that the sun is basically creating a straight line across the United States. This is because we just saw the equinox, and you'll notice as the days continue to progress, the line as the sun rises will continue to get more at an angle. So that's kind of fun. You'll notice that as I continue to show you satellite imagery as the weeks and months progress, you will begin to see more of that angle as the sun rises and the sun sets, because right now it is pretty straight, perpendicular up and down. I think that's really cool to see. But if we do take a look at that big picture pattern and show you where the moisture is coming from, that is on the way, because we are expecting to see some rain heading our way by the time that we step out overnight tonight and into tomorrow, as a swirling low pressure system is going to continue to usher in waves of moisture on again, off again throughout the early to middle parts of next week. I'll let you know just how long this rainy pattern will stick around. That'll be coming up in my full forecast. Back to you.
Thank you, Zoe. We'll look forward to it. VTA buses now back on the road after not running for nearly 3 weeks in the South Bay. Drivers returned to work on Friday after a judge ruled against the workers on strike. One passenger told us, despite her support of the union, the lack of service as a result of the strike had become a major inconvenience.
It was costly, difficult, and on top of that, we had other people who weren't sure how they were going to get to and from work. I had several people ask me what I was doing and whether or not we could ride share.
Light rail service is scheduled to return on Monday. Bay Area car buyers are rushing to get deals done before President Trump's new tariffs kick in and drive prices thousands of dollars higher. Starting on April 3rd, the 25% tariff will apply to all cars and car parts made outside of the United States. Our Da Lin reports from the North Bay, where customers are racing to beat the clock.
A busy day here at Toyota Marin. A lot of shoppers trying to close that deal before prices potentially go up. Car shopping can be a little stressful.
I needed one and probably should get it done now.
Adele worries it'll get harder and more costly for shoppers like her.
I probably could have waited another few months if I had to, and so I didn't want to take the chance, even though they're revolving tariffs. Yes, they're on, no, they're off, yes, they're on. I just wanted to get it done and over with.
The Trump administration's 25% tariffs on vehicles imported into the U.S. will go into effect on April 3rd. Parts shipped from foreign countries will also face a 25% import tax no later than May 3rd.
We anticipate a very busy weekend. You know, we looked at today and we had 27 appointments scheduled for just today. So we anticipate a lot of foot traffic. The phone will be ringing, and it helps to have the inventory as well. That's about a 50% spike.
Nate Myler is the sales director at Toyota Marin. They have a lot of inventory, but he doesn't expect it to last very long, given the number of buyers trying to avoid the tariffs.
The average price for a cost of sale new transaction that we go through now is close to $35,000.
We don't play politics, you know, we just sell cars. So if anybody here is thinking about purchasing a vehicle service agreement, it's a good time to do that, because the parts on that, the cost of that labor and parts is going to go up with that also.
Auto industry experts say every make will be affected by the tariffs. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reports even Ford and GM have cars and parts that are imported from Mexico and Canada. Many shoppers told me on Friday they were going to take their time to shop around, but now they're going to buy no later than this weekend.
With taxes and everything came to 43, so we knew that we couldn't go that high. So there's no way I could have afforded that, in a month from now if that 25% tariff took place.
It would have added roughly $10,000 to her car. But 6 months of car shopping came to an end this week at Toyota Marin for Adele. She got her keys and drove off the lot in her new Camry on Friday.
It feels good, actually. It's a relief. It's a relief because now it's done, so I don't have to think, oh, is it going to be more tomorrow, or, it's all taken care of.
It's unclear if the Trump administration will push back the date of April 3rd. Now, this is such a big shock that many dealerships tell me they'll have a better idea of how they'll respond next week.
So experts say the tariffs will also lead to higher car repair costs as well as insurance premiums. Let's go to Vallejo now. Politicians and industry leaders are pushing to bring shipbuilding jobs back to the Bay Area. Mare Island was among the many Bay Area communities that once boomed with shipbuilding. This was back during World War II and the years that followed. Now, just 80 U.S.-flagged ships are engaged in international commerce, compared to more than 5,500 from China. Industry workers say the best way to level the playing field is to invest in jobs here.
As workers, we see the reality of this industry each and every day. Lack of consistent work leads to layoffs. These are great jobs, but there's still too much uncertainty.
Congressman John Garamendi, who represents parts of Solano and Contra Costa counties, co-authored the Ships for America Act, which aims to boost shipbuilding across the United States. This morning in Southeast Asia, more than 1,000 people are now confirmed dead after a magnitude 7.7 earthquake struck in Myanmar. At least 2,300 people are hurt and dozens are still missing. Friday's quake was centered near the city of Mandalay. It flattened buildings, bridges collapsed, and aftershocks as strong as 6.4 were triggered. Rescue teams are now racing to clear debris, but Myanmar's ongoing civil war is hindering aid efforts. Some help is getting through from China, Russia, and India, but relief workers warn that the humanitarian needs are massive. People throughout Thailand also felt the quake. Officials in Bangkok report at least 6 deaths so far. Rescue crews are racing to find survivors after a high-rise building that was under construction completely collapsed. In addition to the 6 deaths, 22 people are injured and 101 people are missing this morning. Crews are working nonstop, using heavy machinery to clear debris as they try to reach survivors. The full impact remains unclear at this point. Rescue efforts continue today, and they will in the days and weeks to come. So naturally, when a major quake hits anywhere in the world, people here in the Bay Area think about what could happen the next time a big one hits us here. Our Brian Hackney takes a look at how the Myanmar quake is similar to the San Andreas fault and what we can learn from it.
The earth snapped here, near Mandalay in Myanmar, and 600 miles away.
I am confused by this, and was last night when I saw it, at the amount of damage done 600 miles from the epicenter. How do we explain all the damage in Bangkok?
I can't explain it either.
Ross Stein is a geophysicist with Tembler Incorporated and a lecturer at Stanford.
It is so far away to produce such damage. Now, likely it is that this was an extremely poorly built building or buildings, and that what an earthquake does, even with extremely modest shaking, is to find those buildings and tear them down.
And while we had our own collapses with Loma Prieta, our buildings are usually much more rugged, but we do have our faults.
Ross, what's the analog to this quake in the Bay Area? Do we have an analog?
Just about every large earthquake we've seen on the San Andreas is an analog for what we've seen today. And that's because the Sagang Fault is a dead ringer for the San Andreas. They're both about 600 miles long. They're both slipping at the same speed, about an inch a year. And they both have a history of very large earthquakes.
The fault that produced today's quake has had 10 large quakes since 1900. Each put pressure on a different part of that fault, making it more likely to snap. We have the same problem in the Bay Area, but our own great quake actually gave us a break.
We've been living during the glory days of 1906 that dropped the stress on the part of the fault in the Bay Area where we live.
Right now we have a major fire.
But as Loma Prieta proved, that can't last forever. As for casualties in Myanmar, the numbers will probably dramatically rise.
The country has been forewarned by past earthquakes, but isn't in a position to protect and defend itself, and that's tragic.
Ross Stein also says that while we're typically the most concerned about the San Andreas fault, it's often the smaller faults, known as branch faults, which experience medium-sized quakes that trigger a big one on a major fault, just like the San Andreas. Coming up after the break, not that long ago, a neighborhood in West Oakland was overrun by homeless encampments. And now a new food market is the latest sign that it is bouncing back. When we come back, we'll introduce you to one of the minds behind the project who says he has found his purpose.
I'm Johnny Mosley, and the mountains are calling. The Toyota is packed up and ready to go. But before we get out there, let's take a look at what the conditions are like. The Toyota Tahoe report is ready to go. Let's head over to the map.
Well, the peak snowpack across the Sierra is normally on April 1st, so we're definitely seeing quite a lot of snow on the ground. And additional accumulations over this past storm systems were pretty healthy. 3 inches in Kirkwood up to Sierra Tahoe, an inch in Heavenly, but northern parts of Lake Tahoe picked up even more higher totals. Not necessarily for Diamond Peak and Mount Rose with 1 inch, North Star 2 inches, but Palisades 4 inches, Sugar Bowl over a 1/2 foot of snow over the past several days. So I hope you can get out this weekend and enjoy all of that fresh powder at the peak of the snowpack for this season. And that was your Toyota Tahoe report.
We'd like to head over to the East Bay, where the owner of a new market opening in Oakland is trying to bring neighbors together through a language that we all speak: food. I caught up with him to find out more about what he hopes to accomplish. As he stares up at these words on the wall, Harv Singh takes a moment to reflect.
It's gratifying, man. Like, it's a lot of hard work. You know, it's like almost 3 years.
His vision, the Prescott Market, has finally come to life in West Oakland.
The members of the community that live here deserve this.
The brand new food hall just soft opened. It's next door to Raimondi Park, where the Oakland Ballers play. It's the latest major development in the neighborhood that has transformed significantly over the past few years.
What's up, Wes?
Harv says they're just about leased out. They hope to be by the market's grand opening on April 5th.
You know, it was a bit of a challenge at times to convince people to come into a new development in an area where there's not much happening, but a lot of promises and hope. So this was kind of a project where, you know, you build it and hopefully they come. We got some top tier tenants that believe in what we're doing, and more importantly, they believe in this community.
All right, so I'll make a cheese.
Jonathan Rupert is one of those tenants taking a bet on Prescott Market and West Oakland.
Making pizza since I was about 16, so...
He currently has a brick and mortar location of his spot, Pizzeria Violetta, on Piedmont Avenue.
We looked at our delivery metrics, and we weren't doing anything on this side of the freeway. So we thought this would be a good spot to kind of have another outpost. The landlord's putting in a lot of resources into the community. We're also seeing a lot of community development happening, so it's good.
And his confidence in the location has only grown from what he's seen and heard from customers throughout the soft open.
And they're like, hey, we moved from Rockridge or Piedmont down to West Oakland. And I'm like, wow. There is something magical happening down here. If people are leaving Piedmont and moving to West Oakland, it must be pretty cool.
Cheers.
Harv says one of the key pillars of Prescott Market is that it is centered around community, and he thinks it will play a key role in West Oakland's continued rebirth.
And it brings me joy, and it brings me love, and it brings me purpose. And I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
One person playing his part to help a neighborhood thrive. You know, looking at that pizza at 6 in the morning, I wasn't that hungry, but my opinion has changed. 7 a.m. now, I think I could have 2 slices of that pizza.
Okay, we were talking about it this morning. I could eat a slice of pizza before the show goes on. Max said he couldn't eat a slice.
Before the sunrise, I don't think I could have a slice, but after the sunrise, which is beautiful today,
Yes.
by the way, I feel like I could have that slice
Yeah,
now.
once the sun's up, it's like waking your stomach up a little bit. I am hungry.
Yeah.
I kind of want some breakfast food now more than pizza,
know,
honestly.
pizza sounds pretty
Pizza
good.
doesn't sound awful, though. Honestly, whatever you want to eat early this morning, I highly suggest you do it with your windows open. Maybe not letting the air in, but at least letting the light in, because it's gorgeous out there. It is a golden start to our day. It's Mother Nature just letting us know we are in for a treat with beautiful weather this afternoon. Temperatures all across the Bay Area are chilly. They're sitting in the 40s, if not even upper 30s across some parts of our North Bay communities. About 5 to 10 degrees cooler than yesterday, if not 11 degrees cooler in Santa Rosa right now. So again, you do need to bundle up, even though it looks like a fiery start to our day. Temperature is definitely not feeling fiery, as we are looking at a little bit of cloud coverage right now, but you notice it's really not all too much, and that's the reason that our temperatures are cooler, because we're not dealing with the cloud coverage right now. We are going to see a lot more clouds arriving later this afternoon and evening, getting thicker and thicker until the rain moves in. We are expecting more rainy conditions overnight tonight and into early tomorrow. So it really depends on when your plans are, when you'll need to grab the umbrella. Today, no umbrella necessary. Even late tonight, you should be good. If you have plans at about 1 or 2 a.m., that's when you'll want to keep the umbrella handy. It's an overnight system that is going to be bringing more widespread rain across the Bay Area, but very light rain in nature. Very little flooding threats from this system, but we'll take whatever rain we can get. Rain is a good thing. We're actually below average across a lot of the Bay Area, so for the month of March, we still need more rain. And more rain is actually on the way, and you can see that just by looking at all the cloud coverage that is surging across the Pacific. That cloud coverage and associated moisture stream will be impacting us again by late tonight, just like I showed you on the ground. Not expecting any heavy rainfall, though. Maximum totals about 1/10 of an inch to maybe up to 1/4 of an inch. The highest amount's likely going to be down over the Santa Cruz Mountains, where over an inch is possible. And again, they need it, but it's not going to be flooding rainfall. It's going to be all beneficial rainfall. That's not going to arrive until late tonight. Again, it's going to be spotty showers that will move through overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Likely going to be seeing some wet roadways for any early Sunday morning commuting you should do. It's not going to be a 2 hands on the wheel morning, but it is going to be breezy out there as well. We'll be looking at those on again, off again showers through the early afternoon, clearing out by late Sunday. But by early Monday, we are looking at another line of rain that will be moving in throughout the early morning hours, and then a bit of a break, and then another line of rain moving in by the afternoon hours. So again, on again, off again showers will be the name of the game, at least through the next several days, along with some breezy to windy conditions today, maybe 10 to 20 miles an hour. But early tomorrow morning, when that frontal boundary arrives, we likely are going to be seeing those gusts upwards of 25 to 45 miles an hour, especially along our coastal communities along the peninsula. They will remain pretty breezy throughout the afternoon and evening on Sunday, and then more windy conditions into early Monday as that next line of rain moves in. So again, breezy, rainy conditions will arrive by as soon as overnight and into tomorrow, and continue on again, off again rain showers through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday. But by Friday, we are going to be seeing much drier weather just in time for next weekend. Up until then, though, umbrella necessary. Keep it handy and enjoy today. Back to you.
Coming up, Vice President J.D. Vance makes a quick trip to Greenland, territory that President Trump says he wants to turn into a part of the United States. More from that visit. Plus, the top vaccine official at the FDA steps down while accusing Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of spreading misinformation and lies.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Max Darrow. Alongside meteorologist Zoe Minson, all morning we've just been appreciating the beautiful sunrise today. And it's
so gorgeous.
Something we kind of have to hold on to just for today.
Yes, but we need the rain. So let's...
Rain is a good thing.
Yeah, rain is a good thing in the Bay Area. I know it's going to ruin some plans on Sunday. So if you have any Sunday plans outdoors, you probably want to make them today instead, so you can actually enjoy yourself, because we need some rain, and we're actually below average for basically the entirety of the Bay Area, although San Jose, you are probably the least below average. You're only about 1/10 of an inch below average for the month. Here in San Francisco, we are slightly more below average, nearly an inch below what we're normally seeing this time in the month. And then Santa Rosa, about an inch and a half below normal for March. We need some rain, and luckily rain is on the way over the next several days. Today, though, we're not going to pick up on any of those additional totals. We are going to be seeing dry and quiet conditions all afternoon long. It is a quiet start to our morning, though, and a cool one at that. Temperatures across the Bay Area sitting in the 40s, if not upper 30s in Santa Rosa. And compared to just 24 hours ago, we are definitely feeling more of that chill by about 5 to 10 degrees across the Bay Area. And you might be wondering, why is it so much cooler this morning? Well, it all has to do with just the lack of cloud coverage. The fact that it is so clear out there allowed our temperatures overnight to cool down a bit more. By this afternoon, though, we'll be staying below average, and I'll let you know how long these cool conditions will stick around and when the rain will arrive. That'll be coming up in just a bit. Back to you.
Thank you, Zoe. We'll look forward to that forecast. Vice President J.D. Vance returned to the United States late last night after a historic and controversial visit to Greenland. It's all a part of the latest push by the Trump administration as it aims to take control of the semi-autonomous Danish territory. CBS's Bradley Blackburn has more on the Arctic intrigue.
Vice President J.D. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance landed at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland Friday after traveling to Greenland. He spent more time in the air than on the ground, but still made history as the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit.
We need to ensure that America is leading in the Arctic because we know that if America doesn't, other nations will fill the gap where we fall behind.
Vance visited U.S. troops at a space base in the island's far northwest, but he wasn't welcomed by Greenland's officials. President Trump has said he wants the U.S. to take control of the territory, something Greenland does not want.
We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can't.
Greenland's new prime minister said there needs to be a dialogue with the U.S., and the vice president said he expects there will be a deal.
We do not think that military force is ever going to be necessary. We think we're going to be able to cut a deal, Donald Trump style, to ensure the security of this territory, but also the United States of America.
At the White House, President Trump was also focused on the North. With the U.S. and Canada locked in a trade war over tariffs, he spoke for the first time with Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney.
I've always loved Canada. We had a very good conversation.
We agreed to begin comprehensive negotiations about a new economic and security relationship between our two sovereign countries.
New tariffs against goods from Canada are still set to take effect April 2nd.
The top vaccine official at the FDA has resigned amid rising tensions over vaccine safety and public health policies. Dr. Peter Marks stepped down after being given the choice to quit or be fired. He criticized Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for spreading misinformation that jeopardizes public health. Marks, who played a crucial role in the COVID-19 vaccine rollout under Operation Warp Speed, will leave his position effective April 5th. His resignation follows growing conflicts over Kennedy's well-known skepticism about vaccines. Columbia University's interim president, Katrina Armstrong, has stepped down amid escalating tensions over campus policies and federal funding. Armstrong announced her resignation last night. It came a few days after Columbia agreed to make policy changes aimed at restoring $400 million in funding withheld by the Trump administration. Those changes included stricter protest rules and oversight of the Middle Eastern Studies Department. Armstrong, who took the role in August, will now lead Columbia's medical center. Claire Shipman, co-chair of the university's board, will serve as acting president during the search for a permanent replacement. A federal judge is blocking the deportation of a Tufts University student detained this week after she supported Palestinian causes in the Gaza conflict. Rumeysa Öztürk, a Turkish national and doctoral student, was arrested by immigration officials in Somerville, Massachusetts. She is now at a detention center in Louisiana. Her visa was revoked due to alleged ties to Hamas, although no evidence was provided. A federal judge ruled on Friday that Öztürk cannot be deported until a court determines the legality of her detention. Her attorneys have criticized the detention as, quote, shocking, cruel, and unconstitutional. Separately, a federal judge in Boston has temporarily blocked the Trump administration from deporting people to countries where they are not citizens without giving them a chance to seek protection here in the United States. The new ruling says detainees must be notified of their destination and given the chance to argue for humanitarian protection before being sent to a third country. The ruling challenges the administration's plan to expedite deportations, including to places like El Salvador and Panama, policy that has already led to concerns for people's safety. Advocates for immigrants see this as a win, ensuring that those at risk can make their case in court. Coming up, NASA is testing new technology aiming at keeping air support active during firefights when human pilots can't see. We'll get an up-close look. After weeks of uncertainty, hundreds of National Park Service employees have their old jobs back. And this morning, we're hearing from one of those employees. But first, we need to take you back a month. The Trump administration fired about 1,000 NPS employees, including workers at California's national parks. But earlier this month, a federal judge in San Francisco ordered their immediate reinstatement. That judge ruled the Office of Personnel Management had no legal grounds to terminate the employees in the first place. In his ruling, Judge William Alsup said, quote, "It is a sad, sad day when our government would fire some good employees and say it was based on performance when they know good and well that's a lie." We spoke with one Yosemite worker who said he received nothing but glowing performance reviews by his superiors. Says he's thrilled to get his job back, but he and his colleagues still don't know what the future looks like. Listen.
I'm definitely happy to be back and working and doing this job again and keeping the park as the way it should be. But, you know, obviously, my kind of just, I don't know how to say it, but like, obviously, yeah, I just have to go day by day. You know, I don't have any other choice.
In a statement, the National Park Service confirmed the reinstatements and told us all impact employees will receive back pay. They also said the Trump administration will appeal Judge Alsup's decision. All right, closer to home now, First Alert meteorologist Zoe Mintz back here to tell us all about the weather, why today is going to be beautiful, why tomorrow we're going to get some rain, which is a good thing, but at the same time, a little bit of a bummer for the weekend.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to head out to Yosemite, today is definitely the day to do so. I will say, if you're a national park ranger at Yosemite, you're at the top of the league. That's the place that you want to work. That is so cool. I'm so happy that they got their jobs back. Hopefully, you stay back for as long as possible. But either way, get outside for as long as you possibly can today. It is going to be lovely out there, and I hope you can enjoy the sunnier skies while you can, because it's not going to stay this sunny for long. Temperatures this afternoon, even with plenty of sunshine inland, are still going to remain below average in the mid-60s across our inland locations and down into the Santa Clara Valley. And we will continue to feel those cooler temperatures even closer to our coastal communities as well. Kind of just depends on where you're located, but everybody is going to be about 5 degrees below average for this time of year, with a lot more cloud coverage that is going to arrive later this afternoon and evening. So again, get out earlier rather than later if you do want to enjoy the sunnier skies and the quieter conditions, because late tonight, rain will arrive. It's not going to move in until very late and into the overnight hours, so basically all day today you should be good. If you have any 1, 2 a.m. plans, that's when you'll want to grab the umbrella, as the more widespread wetting rainfall will be moving across the Bay Area. It's going to stick around into early tomorrow morning, so it's likely going to be a wet early morning commute tomorrow. Get ready for multiple mornings where there is going to be wet conditions, with this active weather pattern sticking around through mid to late next week. Today, we are just watching that cloud coverage that is quickly approaching. So again, we are going to be seeing a lot quieter and clearer conditions earlier rather than later, so the sunny skies again, take advantage while you can. The rain that we'll be seeing through tomorrow, it is not going to be heavy rain. Maybe a couple of tenths to a quarter of an inch maximum. Potentially up to an inch down near the Santa Cruz Mountains, but flooding not going to be a threat with this system. As again, today it's dry, it's quiet. A lot more cloud coverage arriving, and then the rain not going to move in until overnight. This is our view at 11:15. Nothing's happened quite yet. The heavier rain is going to be moving in again overnight hours when most of us will be asleep. But by early tomorrow morning, that's our view at 6 a.m., a few spotty areas of drizzle will be upon us. So it's not a two hands on the wheel kind of morning, but it's definitely a give yourself an extra couple of minutes. Those rainier conditions will stick around throughout the later morning and early afternoon before clearing out. By later tomorrow afternoon and evening, you actually could be seeing a few more peaks of sunshine before another wave of rain moves in overnight Sunday and into early Monday morning. Again, likely going to be a rainy early Monday morning commute, clearing out by the later morning before more rain heads our way by Monday afternoon. So it's going to be on again, off again rain showers that are going to persist at least through the middle parts of next week, along with some breezier conditions that are going to arrive early tomorrow morning, especially along our coastal communities. We could be seeing those gusts upwards of 25 to 35 miles an hour early tomorrow morning and into the early afternoon hours. It should be a bit quieter by later tomorrow evening before that next line of rain arrives by Monday morning and then continues to pick up those windy conditions. We are going to be continuing to see those well below average temperatures. This is San Jose all the way through Thursday of next week. But by next weekend, sneak peek, 70s returning. So these cool and rainy conditions are likely going to stick around for at least about the next 5 to 6 days. But we are going to be seeing by the end of the upcoming week quieter and drier conditions. So there is an end in sight to this rainy pattern, but you are going to have to keep that umbrella handy for at least the next several days. But get out and enjoy today. Back to you.
We will today. Thank you, Zoe. Fire crews in California are trained to handle some of the most intense circumstances possible. But at low times, low visibility or dangerous conditions can ground in air assaults, which is the most effective tool at fighting wildfires. But now NASA is helping expand the window of time that crews have to respond to a major incident. This week, researchers performed their first wildfire test flight missions using new airspace management technology. It's potentially life-saving tech that is years in the making. And they brought our Mary Lee along for the ride.
Try and adjust more if you want.
Here in the beautiful Salinas foothills, NASA researchers have turned this private land into their very own live experiment. Their mission, helping crews fight fires from the air both day and night, sending all types of aircraft in the sky 24/7. Because right now, pilots can't fly at night or in heavy smoke.
It's something that I've spent years talking to firefighters from different agencies about, and it's just really exciting to actually, see the drones take off and then see the real live display, not simulated data, but like the actual live location of all those pieces being tracked in our system.
Taking me along for the ride, we drove up rugged terrain to get to the launch site. This is where we found more NASA researchers here in this remote area. They purposely picked this spot because of the hills, vegetation, and weak cell service.
I'll just put the batteries on, and then I'll come back for the RC.
This is where we met Jonas Jansson. He's the mission manager for NASA's test mission here.
We have ground station operator here, so it's going to then take over the control of the aircraft and fly the flight plan, which we have scattered out there. So it's a lawnmower pattern and going back and forth across the hillside. And the purpose is to simulate a prescribed burn.
NASA is testing its Portable Aircraft Management System, or PAMS, to make sure drones and remotely piloted aircraft stay inside their approved flight paths, wildfire operation zones, and of course, avoid any collisions in the air. By first making sure their aircraft communication runs smoothly, they can then safely deploy all aircraft at night or in heavy smoke, something they could never do before. Extending the time crews can fight fires is crucial and can make all the difference in stopping a wildfire from getting out of control.
This project is super personal to me. I grew up in Southern California. I've been evacuated. I lived in the canyon that every year you get fires. And so being able to help with this project and help our end users is really kind of just a dream come true.
It's a real good motivation for in the morning when you get up at 5 a.m. or something to head out and do the flight test. You know that you're doing it for a good cause.
For NASA researchers, they say this mission is not just rewarding, but brings them one step closer to reality. They hope fire crews can start using their new technology out in the field soon.
Researchers will use data from the flight test to refine the airspace management system. The project is managed at NASA's Ames Research Center at Moffett Field. Coming up after the break, she brought a historic theater in the mission back from the brink of foreclosure and then transformed it into a center for culture and art. We'll have the story of this week's Bay Area Icon Award winner. A historic 99-year-old theater in San Francisco's Mission District has become a place for community and culture to come together, thanks in no small part to one woman who led the fight to save it. Sharon Chin introduces us to this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award winner.
Anastasia Powers-Cuellar remembers the first time she visited the Brava Theater back in 1983.
I came to see a film about Machito, and John Santos was giving a lecture about the history of Latin jazz and salsa, and I was just blown away. The theater seats used to be a lot lower rate here.
She's never lost that sense of awe.
It's called Macarena.
Since 2012, she's led Brava for Women in the Arts. The nonprofit highlights productions by women, the LGBTQ+ community, people of color, youth, and other underrepresented voices.
It's always been a vortex of creative energy.
The theater first opened in 1926 as a vaudeville stage and eventually became a movie house before Brava bought the building in 1996. But some 15 years later, a recession nearly dropped the curtain on the cultural centerpiece.
It was $2 million in debt. There was 25 liens on the property. It was very sad.
And Anastasia was hired to save it.
I knew what this place meant in the community.
Drawing on 3 decades in the arts and administration, Anastasia secured grants and community partnerships. She led the effort to resuscitate the theater center, renovated the storefronts along 24th Street.
Cabaret space.
And carved a new cabaret space.
Inferior.
Jose Carrasco, director of the Loco Performing Arts Group at Brava, had a front row seat to the transformative work of Anastasia, whom he also calls Stacy.
It takes an important skill set of knowing how to work with people. I really couldn't tell you what the secret recipe is for Stacy, but she makes it happen.
Today, 30,000 people come to more than 200 events a year at Brava, showcasing local artists in music, theater, dance, and more. It provides affordable rental space to nonprofits, and it's home to youth performing arts and paid internships for teenagers learning production.
My home, sweet home.
Empress Kayende Koyejo, one of a dozen resident artists at Brava, celebrates Anastasia's gifts of collaboration and innovation.
And as an artist, you need someone who can see and believe in you enough to say, without question, let's go ahead and do it and see what it is.
Anastasia is proud that she helped usher a new period of stability for the arts community.
And we need it for our heart and our soul and our well-being.
So for saving and breathing new life into the Brava Theater Center, this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award goes to Anastasia Powers Cuellar.
After 13 years as executive director, Anastasia says it is time to step down in June. She urges people to continue to support Brava and the arts, noting that utility bills alone have more than doubled. You can nominate a community hero for a CBS News Bay Area Icon Award at kpix.com/icon. We'd love to hear from you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Get out today, enjoy some sunshine. It's going to be the one day that you'll actually be able to soak up an all-day sunny day because a big change in the weather is arriving. A big active weather pattern will bring chances for on-again, off-again rain showers starting late tonight, continuing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday before drier weather moves in. But moral of the story, keep that umbrella handy. And you know what, Max? I highly suggest getting out today, just soaking up that sunshine and enjoying the one day out of the next 5 to 6 that you actually can and get out.
I would love to get out today on this beautiful, beautiful Saturday. Thank you, Zoe. Spring has sprung and arrived with an early show of splendor in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I hope people there are able to get out and enjoy the city's cherry blossoms as they reach their peak on Friday, marking the 6th consecutive year of an earlier than usual bloom, which is all thanks to a very warm weather stretch over the past few weeks. The cherry trees burst into full bloom several days ahead of the long-term average. This year's bloom had a slower start earlier this month.
But once the temperatures in D.C. warmed up, the buds quickly advanced through their cycle, reaching peak bloom in just 17 days. Now visitors are gathering at the tidal basin to enjoy the view and take photos there, with the blossoms displaying their signature pink and white. By the way, Japan donated these trees to Washington, D.C. back in 1912.
Have you ever seen them?
Never in full peak bloom. I was out there in the springtime once, but I just missed the season. This was probably 10 years ago at this point.
It's so hard to time it because normal nowadays, it's continuing to change with climate change and with kind of the seasons getting a bit earlier, a bit later. That's going to kind of be the new norm. So yes, it is earlier than normal, but eventually this is kind of just going to be the new normal.
Yeah. Well, I hope all the people enjoying it have their allergy medicine ready to go.
Yes. Oh
as
my
well.
gosh, I've sneezed like 8 times this morning.
All right, thank you for watching KPIX this morning. Don't forget the news continues all day on CBS News Bay Area. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Have a great Saturday.